Okay, now that I've added materials, oh, and by the way, I have added an additional material. They look similar. On this one, though, I've got less angled. So, but you can see that on my shading, I've got a bag material 3, a bag material 2, and a bag material 1 that are applied based on what I want happening in a given area. That done, I want to take a minute to kind of look things over. So what I have right now is something to this effect. I see my water droplets need a little bit of tweaking. I'm not sure if I'll go back and do another video on that, or I mean, the one that I did previously is probably sufficient. But I might go with more of a splashing effect than just the droplets. Be a little more aggressive in what I'm doing. But that being the case, I think what I want to do now is maybe do a little tweaking on this bag and add a little bit of a tab down below that kind of mimics what's happening on the top. That might affect the physics and how this falls, so we'll take a look at that in a minute. So for the moment, just to get a better view on this, I'm going to get rid of the ground, and let's just get this in a front view, and let's just take a look at this from down below, zoom in a bit, and let's take a look at it in object mode, or in edit mode. And I think what I'm going to do is, actually, let's get that out of the way. I pushed N on my keyboard to get that menu out of the way. And, all right, let's go ahead, and I think I'm just going to grab those lines right there, those edges. And I think what I'll do is subdivide, and let's take that up to 2 cuts. Great, I think that'll work. And then I think what I'm going to do is just go ahead, and I'm going to, in face select mode, just grab everything between here and here. So having selected the one face, I'm going to go ahead and hold down my control key, and then select the face on the other end. And let's look at this in the front view. And I think what I'm going to do is, actually, let's push N and bring this back. I'm going to go into object mode just because I want to, okay. I'm looking at the dimensions just to get a sense of the scale that I have on this item, because that can affect any changes that I make. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to push E on my keyboard to extrude, and then I'm going to push 5, and that's a little more than I want. So let me scroll out here. Yeah, Control Z. My math must have been bad in my head, so let's try that again. Let's do E to extrude, and 2. Yeah, that looks a little more like it. The number is going to vary based on the scaling of your object. You know, if you're dealing with a larger object or a smaller object, that number that I'm picking is going to vary. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll do that again. Extrude 2, enter, extrude 2, enter. I think that's probably fine. I'm not going to get into adding the curve and things like that I want, or that I have on the top, because the material, whatever it is that's in this bag, is going to be settled more towards the bottom and going to be more squared off at the bottom anyway. So that being the case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the ground back, and I'm going to push play again, let this recalculate, and we'll see what happens when it hits the ground. It's possible that things are just fine, but it is also possible that that extra geometry at the bottom causes the bag to behave in a different manner. So we'll take a look at that and see what happens. Okay, so it looks like there's a little bit extra jiggle from that geometry at the bottom, but basically it ends up falling in pretty much a similar way, so I think I'm okay with that. I might come back and do a little bit more with the water And then after that, it's very likely I might get into playing around with the lighting and some camera angles to turn this into a nice little snippet of video, of animation.